Okay, welcome to a Serendipity Steve in the countryside. So here I am in a field in North Devon, and the weather's okay. It's not brilliant, but I thought I'll talk to you from here. As you can see, my tent is here, and I'm preparing a culinary delight for you all. I'm making ribeye steak marinated in Cajun spices, which I have crushed here with my own fair hand. As you can see, basically they're made up of, let me just get the ingredients. It's paprika, fennel, salt, basically black pepper and white pepper, garlic, onion powder, some chili and cumin, and a bit of mustard. So I'm mixing all that. Cajun spice comes from Louisiana. It was brought there by the Acadians who fled Canada, I think after persecution by the British, and they set up in Louisiana, and they've got an amazing cuisine, and the spices and flavorings they use is Cajun. So I'm going to make a Cajun marinated steak. What's interesting about it is, I don't know if you can see here, now I'm trying to film this as I go, but as you can see over there, there's a I'm smoking some hickory sticks, which I'm hoping will give it a hickory flavour, and then I'm going to finish it off searing it in this pan. I have some beautiful fresh Cavalo Nero here. Look at this beautiful Cavalo Nero, which I'm going to chop up, and I've got a couple of chilies here, so I'm going to do a chili and Cavalo Nero, sort of spice it up in the oil that I'll fry in, just to keep the flavors all together, and then I'll be eating it. Yes, so hopefully it'll all go well. I really don't know how this is going to go. It's the first time I've done it, and I'm trying to be cameraman, cook, producer, and everything else at the same time. So hopefully it'll go well. What I really wanted to talk to you about was the current situation with the world as it is now. You know, people talk about influencers, and I don't want to be an influencer. I really don't want to influence anybody. What I'd like to do is to sort of commentate on the current situation as we find it, and if I make sense and if I talk sense, please feel free to share this. And I hope there's something in what I say, and it adds to your general understanding of the whole system. Now, as you know, I speak from a Christian perspective, and today I had a conversation with a friend of mine who is very much off the Christ consciousness basis. Now, if you hear people using that term, Christ consciousness, they're not Christians. Okay, we Christians don't refer to Christ consciousness. That is a concept that was developed by Madame Blavatsky and the whole New Age movement, and it's an attempt to try and sound as if you have a Christian principle, but you don't. It's people who mention such terms as Christ consciousness often refer to as above, so below, which is funnily enough what the Freemasons do as well. So right now we're in a very mixed up world, and I think this mixed upness has been purposely orchestrated. And as I've said before, we've been cut and diced, sliced and diced. And while I'm saying that, I'm going to slice and dice as we speak. So I'm just going to cut. I've got this beautiful Almazian knife, which is from Serbia. It's seriously sharp, so I'm hoping I don't come a cropper with this, but I'm just going to slice up this while we speak. So we have been sliced and diced by the mainstream media and the powers that be. If you want to know who the powers that be are, it's very simple. As I've said before, the love of money is the root of all evil. Okay, so if you want to see who's currently running the world, as you can see, the world is so materialistic and so full of desire to make wealth and money that really the craziness that's going on in the world can only be from one source, and that source is the group of people who love money more than anybody else. I'll refer to them as bankers, shall I? And you know what the collective noun for bankers is? It's a one-choff. Okay, yes, a one-choff bankers. Work it out. You probably heard me say that before. I love it. Yeah, I've just cut up the cut up the Cavalo Nero, and I'm just going to slice up a chili as we speak. So basically, at the moment, what you're seeing is throughout recent history, and I suppose since the Middle Ages, these bankers have been setting up banks and running banks, and the central bank is probably their finest statement of all time. And so what we've got is a situation where these bankers have taken over. And if any of you've watched Peaky Blinders, it's quite interesting how a criminal family become politicians. And I think that's exactly what's happened in the United States, and funnily enough, to a degree in Britain as well. It's a little bit more hidden in Britain, but I'm convinced that the nefarious individuals, secret societies, groups, Freemasons, and also we've got Tony Blair's Common Purpose, which is thrown into the mix as well to confuse things. And if any of you think that Keir Starmer is a free-thinking individual who purports to speak about things that he's come up with, it's total bollocks. He's being run by Tony Blair, but more importantly, he is enthralled to the World Economic Forum, as we know. So basically, how do we get through this? We have a situation where wherever we turn, we seem to be cut off by the legal system and government, local government, authorities, and taxes, fines, whatever. This is the kind of environment we find ourselves in, and it's not a pleasant place to be, is it? We don't like this, and which is why coming out into the countryside like this. If you can see me still, hopefully, I'm just going to try and get my turn my steak over and let it smoke a bit more. Let's get that nicely smoked. Yes, there we go. Some hickory smoke on that. So we're in a situation now where, what do? We had the election. We all thought maybe reform might get in and there might be some change, but that was a last gasp hope, really. That wasn't going to happen. The powers that be will make sure that who they wanted would get in, and it was almost like the Conservatives were being sacrificed on the altar of gain in order that Keir Starmer and his cronies, who are, I don't know what to say. Okay, I was at school with the guy. I don't know him very well, but I remember him strutting around, and he was, of all the senior guys, I remember he appeared to be one of the more sort of complete knobs, really, strutting around, and he still does. He still think he fancies himself, and that's what they all do. They're all narcissistic psychopaths, and they really fancy themselves. They really, really think they're important. And who are you to question these people? And funny enough, we vote for them, and we've said this before, and I'm repeating myself. I know a lot of you know all this anyway, but I think what I want to say is, because this conversation I had with my friend today, who's a very kind-hearted, loving person who means very well, but when people start referring Christ consciousness and trying to appear to be Christian to me, it kind of slightly annoys me, because there's a falsity there, and we all know that Satan enjoys falseness. And so when people try to be something they're not, and then claim Christian connections by using terms like Christ consciousness and trying to refer to biblical things, obviously, when people say things like the love of money, money is the root of all evil. No, it's the love of money. So simple little deals. I'm just putting some lard into the pan here, which I'm hoping is now nice and hot, because it's been frying for a little bit, and unfortunately, while I would like to use the barbecue down there, I don't think it's going to work. So I've heated this skillet up on a gas fire, as you can see down there. I don't know if you can see it. Let me just show you. There you go. So that skillet is there. That's boiling away beautifully. So let's time to put on the steak. Let's see how this goes. So wish me luck. I really don't know how this is going to go. It's probably going to explode and fry me. Anyway, let's take that off. Okay, so as you can see, here's a rather lovely piece of steak, local ribeye steak, which I've coated in that lovely spicing, and now I'm just going to place it on here. Let's hope we get a nice sizzle. There you go. I'll bring my mic a bit closer without burning myself. Can you hear that sizzle? Doesn't that sound amazing? And the key really is 20 seconds on each side and then flip it. Now I've got lines, and I'm just not sure I'm going to make those lines work, because I'm going to get a crisscross pattern, because I'm going to be turning it over, and I'm not sure I'm going to be keeping the lines. But anyway, it's going to look good. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, I think the answer really in this situation, when you feel cut off and there's not much you can do, is prayer. And I know that sounds trite and everybody says, oh God, here he goes about prayer again. But I have come to learn throughout my life, and I have been walking in faith to a lesser or greater degree since I was a child. So I'm not trying to say I know everything. I'm not in any way a doyen of all knowledge, but I would like to share with you the power of prayer. And the more of us that actually start to pray to Jesus, or in the name of Jesus, to God, and ask for his mercy on us, because right now that's what we need. We need God's mercy more than ever before. We need this. And I would just encourage every single one of you to try and spend a bit of time with God in prayer. And I think the more of us that do it, I think there is a movement. I think there is a revival, because people are lost. And when you're lost, like I've said before, there are no atheists on the war, on the battlefield. When you're facing, your maker at some point, and I'm not saying we're at that place now, but there is a lot of fear, and I feel a lot of fear, because those of us that know that things aren't right, and if things aren't right, we have to be worried. Life isn't going to be the same unless we make a difference. So what I would like to suggest is that you all pray, and at the very least, what I would suggest is try and pray the Our Father at the very least. You know what that is. So, sorry, while I'm just talking about that, can you see that steak? Look at that. How does that look? Let me give you a little bit of a close-up. So again, I'm cameraman, producer, and check that out. How gorgeous is that? Okay, so let me make sure this doesn't fall off. Hopefully you can still see me. Okay, so, yeah, I did press record. Good. For a horrible moment, I thought I hadn't pressed record. Right, there we go. I think that steak's done, because I quite like it rare. They say with ribeye, it shouldn't be too rare, but I quite like it like that. And you know how to check steak, so use the finger test. So press there. That first finger is rare, or blue. That is medium rare. That is medium, and that is well done. Okay, so that's how you check it. And pressing it, yeah, I would say that's kind of rare to medium rare already. And there's a lovely bit of juice in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this to this rather nice olive wood dish, which I specially bought for this occasion. And I'm probably going to dribble everywhere. Yeah, I have. And now I'm going to put in some wet Cavalo Nero. So I don't want to put all of that in, because I don't think I'm going to eat that much Cavalo Nero. But I'll put all of that in. And again, hopefully we're going to get a nice little frying noise. And so basically what I'm doing, I could have put some other flavors into this, but I think you're then just going to confuse the dish. So what I wanted to do was really use the oil. There's some lovely oil there. And also because I'm on this keto thing, I try to make oil and fat kind of a main source of energy. If any of you know about keto, you know how good it is. And fat blokes like me, really, before we become too diabetic, need to give up carbs and things like that. So anyway, I'm hoping you're enjoying this bizarre conversation I'm having while I'm cooking. So I'm combining two things that I love. Talking. I love talking, as you know, and I enjoy cooking. So I'm hoping that it's edifying to yourselves. Oh yeah, chilies. Right, let's put some chilies in there. Okay, give it a nice little bit of zing. Go with the Cajun spice, and that Cajun isn't too hot. I didn't put too many chilies in it, but I did put some nice mix. I used black pepper and white pepper, and I ground that up in the pestle and mortar. So I'm hoping it's going to be nice. Trying to get this. Trouble with these skillets is they all the flavors fall in between the grooves, so I'm trying to get that out. So wow, that smells absolutely amazing. The chilies are beginning to kick off now as well, so that's looking very good. I'll leave that for a few moments, and come back and address you and talk to you. So, yes, what are we going to do? Prayer is the answer. There is a madness, like I said at the beginning, and a few weeks ago we had Pride Month, and in where I live, Southsea, there was the Pride weekend celebrations, and you know, I want to be an open-minded person. I want to be someone who is not hateful to other people, or dismissive or judgmental, and you know, there is certain allowance for judgment, because if you see someone doing something wrong, then shouldn't you say something? Shouldn't you say that's wrong? That's not judgment. That's actually pointing out, how do we discipline children? How do we iron, you know, iron sharpens iron? How do we in society make society better? It's by saying to people who are behaving in a bizarre way, that's not right. Now, I don't mind. I'm not homophobic in the slightest. If you want to have a gay relationship, that's your right. But this LGBTQ whatever is forcing the unacceptable. It's trying to make the unacceptable acceptable to people who don't accept that. And even, I'm sure, a lot of sort of right-thinking gay people feel the same way. And when you see people walking around, you know, with their buttocks hanging out, their leather trousers, and, you know, just bizarre things, I'm not quite sure, you know, what they're celebrating. And, you know, okay, fine, if you want to dress like that, do it. But, you know, when there's small children around, and the funniest thing is, the bizarre thing is, there were families taking their little kids to this. So if I defined myself as a sexual person and went round with a codpiece, what would you say? I mean, you know, if I was showing my heterosexuality off with a codpiece and other people walking around with their sort of breasts, you know, I don't know, women showing things. and I bumped into someone, and I thought she would be more inclined to this kind of thing. And she said to me, she said, Steve, I'm sickened by this. It's absolute madness. So these people are mentally ill. And I have to say, there's a certain agreement. And what is happening in our society, and if you're one of these people who actually thinks that this is all okay and there's no mental health issues in our society, and that we're not all being encouraged to be mentally ill by accepting the unacceptable, then, you know, you really need to have a think seriously, because I think there's seriously something wrong. So right, I'm going to turn this off now. So I'll give you a quick close-up of this. Are you ready? Here we go. Camera angles. Look at this. Fantastic. So there we have my steak. And there, if I get a real close-up, there you can see my Cavalo Nero with chili, cooked in the beautiful Cajun spice. I'm hoping you can see all of that, and I'm using the camera correctly. I'll give you a little panorama as well while I'm here. So I'm at the end of a field, and you can see this is a beautiful camping field. There's a few other campers. The weather's not been brilliant, so it's only for the sort of foolhardy. That's my tent and my car. So I have a little farmstead over there, and behind me, which you can't see behind the hedge, is the great Atlantic Ocean. So next time I will try and get you some images of that. And that's Stoke Church. That's St Nectan's Church in Stoke. St Nectan was a holy man who lived here, one of the hermits in the early days of the Christian faith. And I'm a big fan of Celtic Christianity. If you go to Cornwall, there's a lot of names of saints. Saint Just, here the saint was St Nectan. You've got saints all over Cornwall and even in Devon. And these were hermits who lived a holy life and perpetuated Christianity during the darkest times. And sometimes I wonder, maybe we need more of those people. So I'm being a hermit. I don't really want to end up like St Nectan. He challenged some people, some robbers who stole his cow. He went after them to try and preach to them, and they chopped his head off. And the rumor is that when his body stood up, and he picked his head up and walked around, and they were so shocked that one died and the other one committed suicide. And anyway, where the blood fell, foxgloves are meant to grow. Isn't that nice? Anyway, on that note, I'm going to tuck in. I should really eat it, shouldn't I? So let me, right, I've also got some kimchi here, which is very good for one's digestion. So I'm going to put a bit of kimchi on the side here, and have that as a little digestif. before I eat the steak. So I'll just do that now in front of you. So kimchi is fermented onions and chilies. It's a Korean dish. It's very good. Very, very crunchy and very spicy. It's really good. You're meant to have a bit. It's a very good prebiotic, by the way. So if you have problem with your digestion, eating kimchi and fermented things like sauerkraut is very good. It's just a Korean sauerkraut. Very nice. Now I'm going to put my Cavalo Nero on the side here, and I'll do a taste test, and you can tell me what you think. Now, the only thing is, I didn't put much salt in this, so I think I'm going to have to just have a little taste. I got some rather nice salt from a little shop around here, sea salt. So I'll sprinkle. I'm not going to do that ridiculous thing, do that thing. I'm just going to sprinkle it. Who's that strange guy who does that? Have you seen him on TV? Why would you do that? Why would you do this kind of, to put salt on? It's bizarre, isn't it? Really bizarre. Anyway, we live in bizarre times. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed Serendipity Steve Goes Wild. And I will be cooking another dish. I've got an idea for cooking a dish which is based on a Sri Lankan pot roast called a beef s'more. So I'm trying to shrink it down, and instead of doing a pot roast, I'm trying to make it into a steak because I like steak. And I'll probably cook that next time. So anyway, thanks for joining me, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Anyway, lots of love and God blessings on all of you. Take care. I'll speak to you soon. Bye. In my haste, I completely forgot to do the taste. So let me do as they do in these shows, and I will cut a piece of this beautiful steak. Let me show you that. Look at that. Look at that piece of steak. Almost perfect. Can you see that? And I will pop that in my mouth as we speak. Oh my goodness. I can taste the hickory as well. Believe it or not. And let me just try the Cavalo Nero. Sorry for talking with my mouth open. Very rude. Sorry for talking with my mouth open with my mouth full of food. Beautiful. Anyway, I'm going to eat it now. Bye.